Everyone, here is the meditations from Divine Intimacy, number 339, called Progress in the Apostolate. Here is the act of the presence of God. Unite me to you, O Lord, and may the power of your charity enkindle in my heart true apostolic fire. Meditations 1. St. Thomas teaches that love is like fire. It produces a flame, and the flame of love is zeal. If the fire burns intensely, then the flame will also be intense and devouring. True apostolic zeal is the spontaneous result, the normal fruit of intimate contact of the soul with God through love. The more a soul is united to God by love, the more it becomes enveloped in the flame of His charity, participating in His infinite love for men, in His eternal zeal for their salvation. Thus it necessarily becomes apostolic. It would be an exaggeration to say that one could not be an apostle before being thus intimately enraptured by divine love, but it is evident that the fullness of the apostolate, and therefore of apostolic fecundity, will not be attained without this interior flame which is born of union with God. Until we attain this, we must consider ourselves beginners in the apostolate, like apprentices who apply themselves to an art, executing this or that work without yet being sustained or led by personal inspiration. Beginners must act as such, that is, with caution, giving themselves to the apostolate with prudence and measure, because not having attained the spiritual maturity in which the flame of zeal burns spontaneously within them, they have not as yet those reserves of grace which serve to defend the soul from the dangers of a too intense external activity, and which at the same time have the power to make all their labor fruitful. Saint Teresa asserts that as yet the soul is not even weaned, but is like a child beginning to suck the breast. If it be taken from its mother, what can it be expected to do but die? That I am very much afraid will be the lot of anyone to whom God has granted this favor, if he gives up on prayer, unless he does so for some very exceptional reason, or unless he returns to it quickly. He will go from bad to worse. Interior Council 4:3. Let us remark that the saint is not speaking of souls who are taking the first steps in the interior life, but of those who have attained the prayer of quiet and could well be called proficients. Yet it is no exaggeration to say that, in respect to the apostolate, they are still beginners. 2. Saint Teresa shows us a soul at the moment in which, in consequence of the charity which unites it to God, there is born in the interior flame of the apostolate. Through love and abandonment, it has become so submissive to the will of God that it neither knows nor desires anything save that God shall do with it what he wills. And God, who takes it for his very own, seals it with his zeal, and infuses into it a more a most lively sorrow for the sins of men, and an ardent desire to immolate itself for their salvation. In this soul, charity has increased to such a point as to enable it to renounce effectively its own will in order to conform itself in all things to the divine will. Even when confronted with difficult and unforeseen circumstances which require a great spirit of sacrifice, it puts aside every natural repugnance and resentment, all personal views, and presents itself under all personal views and desires in order to adhere entirely to the divine will, whether this presents itself under the aspect of daily duties or by means of the external voice of obedience, the interior voice of the Holy Spirit, or even by the circumstances of life. Then, when the soul is truly united to God by love, truly given to Him, God takes it and sends it forth in the service of the church and souls. He wills to make use of it to realize His plan for the salvation and sanctification of humanity. Immense desires of the Apostolate, in no wise comparable to those it had nourished before, awaken in the soul. It feels that it no longer belongs to itself, that its life is necessarily bound to that of the divine Redeemer, and that, in imitation of Him, it should dedicate its life to souls and let it be wholly consumed in their service. Even those who apparently live isolated from the world and from external contact with men, religious in their cloisters, contemplatives in their hermitages and deserts, become eminently apostolic when they have reached this state. Their whole life of prayer and sacrifice is orientated towards one ideal: to make reparation for the sins of mankind, to save souls. When contemplatives give vent to this apostolic zeal by redoubling their hidden immolation, active souls given to exterior works find in the interior flame blazing forth from their union with God the impulse, the strength, the support, the fecundity of their apostolate. Once again, we must come to the conclusion that the way to attain to the greatest apostolic efficacy is the solitary and silent way of union with God. Here is the colloquy. O my God, how fervent and strong is the charity of a soul who is united with you by love. Those whom you have taken to yourself in this way cannot confine elsewhere to their personal advantage and be satisfied with it, nor would it suffice for them to go to heaven alone, but with solicitude and affection wholly celestial, and with utmost diligence they endeavour to lead many others with them. Grant, O Lord, that my love for you may have the same effect on me. O Lord, when once a soul is resolved to love you and has resigned itself in your hands, you will have nothing else save that it desire and seek to contribute to your greater glory. Oh, the charity of those who truly love you! How little rest will they be able to take if they see they can do anything to help even one soul to make progress and love you better, or to give it some comfort, or save it from some danger. How insupportable would their rest become for them? Even if I can do nothing for others by my actions, I can do a great deal by means of prayer, importuning you, O Lord, for many souls the thought of whose ruin causes me such grief. I would lose my own comfort and look upon it as well lost. For I am not thinking of my own pleasure, but of how better to do your will, O my God. As time goes on, my desire to do something for the good of some soul grows greater and greater, and I often feel like one who has a large amount of treasure in her charge and would like everyone to enjoy it, but whose hands are tied so that she cannot distribute it. Unable to contain myself any longer, I call upon you, O Lord, beseeching you to find me a means of gaining some soul for your service. Thank you for listening. To support me further, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and God bless. Thank you.